Hey guys, it's your girl Cheyenne from Plant My Happy Space. Welcome back to the channel. If you're not already, you should definitely subscribe. So I'll give you a second to hit that little subscribe button. And you should also follow me on Instagram because I'm pretty active on there as well. I post almost every day, so you can keep up a lot more rather than my 1 or 2 videos I do on here. Today, if you haven't already seen the title, is the day that we are going to go over all the plants I bought this month, in the month of April. And once again, I had no self-control, so I understand most of y'all are going to judge me, and that's fine. I'll accept it. I have no regrets. That's fine. That's fine. Actually, I do have a little bit of some regrets for some of them, and we'll get to that later. But if you follow me on Instagram or watched my previous unboxing videos, you're going to see some of the plants in this video, but not all of them. So definitely stick around. We got some wish list plants, we got some rare plants, and I am living for it. As usual, we're going to start off with the groups of plants that I have the least of and then move on to the bigger groups at the end. So let's get started. The first group we're gonna do is Begonia, and I got this Begonia Fannie Moser, I think it's pronounced. This is very interesting. It looks kind of similar to my Begonia Weidii that I have, where it's got the typical dark green with spots and then the red underside, but in my opinion, this one is a lot more dramatic. The red is a lot brighter red, and the dark greens are an almost black color. The spots aren't as big, but I'm really into the darker, deeper colors right now. The next one I got is a Monstera Dubia. And I was so lucky to get this one. There was a seller on Facebook that sold it to me for a pretty reasonable price, and I am so happy to have it. Actually, she found me on Instagram because I posted a picture of it and called me out and was like, oh, that plant looks pretty familiar. But yeah, it looks really good. It showed up in really good condition, and I can't wait till it starts to put out a little bit more growth, and then I'll put a longer chunk of wood in here. The next one is the Calathea Warscewiczii, or Warscewiczii, whatever, however you want to say it. And if you guys saw my current wish list plants list, this was the only Calathea I had on it. Mainly because I already have quite a few Calathea, but this was the one that I had been searching for. And I got really lucky that a plant shop on Etsy that I frequent posted that they had it, and I had to snatch it up so quick. I think they only had one available, so I had to get it, and I'm just so happy to have it. It's already doing really well in my care. It's still in its nursery pot. I don't recommend repotting your plants if they get shipped to you in a pot. I really don't recommend it for Calathea. If you can keep a Calathea in its nursery pot as long as possible, do it. And I think this one is going to do really, really well in my care. I'm really excited. Side note, a lot of you have commented before on my videos or messaged me talking about, how beautiful a certain Calathea is that I show in my video, but you kill every Calathea you have, or you don't know how to take care of them and stuff like that. And honestly, I felt the same way when I got into Calathea. I killed quite a few Calathea when I first started. And their care is a little bit complicated, but not as complicated as we all make it out to be. So I will be doing a video later on my prayer plant collection and care. And it's going to be somewhat of an in-depth video because I don't think Calathea are like other genus of plants like Philodendron, where you can kind of give them, an overarching, give them this light and this water and they'll be fine. I think Calathea are very specific. Certain of them love bright light. Certain of will hate it if you give them any light at all. Basically, they have to be in the darkest corner you have. So we're going to go in depth, and I will show you in that video how I care for this specific Calathea along with all my other ones. All right, now we got out of the groups where we only have one of each. Now we're going to move on to cacti. I have never had a cacti before this month. unless you count a euphorbia. I don't know if euphorbia are considered cacti. I have one euphorbia that I got, I think I got it in February or March. It's in one of my plant hauls, so you guys can go look at it. But I've finally got some cacti, and I'm gonna show you what those are right now. The first cacti is probably one you'll recognize at least by its common name, which is the booby cactus. And I just wanted to be a little inappropriate, so for one of my first cactus, I had to get the booby cactus. But I love it. I am trying to perfect its care. It is very new to me. I only got it a couple of days ago. I'm trying to perfect it because it was very squishy when I got it, which is usually a sign with cacti that they need watering. So I watered it, and it's still squishy. Like, okay, maybe not as much now. Okay, maybe it just took some time to soak up the water. Okay, just forget what I said. But I'm really excited to have this. I've been doing a lot of research on cacti care, but I am not an expert. So if any of you guys specialize in cacti care, then please, I'd really appreciate it if you left some care tips down below. The next one is commonly called the blue torch cactus, I believe. But if you watch my channel, you know that I gear towards the more rare, uncommon, and hard to find plants in general. So if I was gonna get into cactus, I was gonna get a blue cactus. I really like it. It poked the crap out of me when I got it because this one showed up before that one, and I don't know why my brain did not tell me, hey, cactus are pokey, don't just grab it. But I'm stupid apparently. So it took a while. Luckily, when I was potting it up, I used a trick that I heard on a video from Becca de la Plants about using a tongs, like kitchen tongs, to hold it while you were potting it up. And I thought that was genius. That helped so much. I have to keep it kind of further away from the light than I want to. I want to put it right in a windowsill. But unfortunately, if you guys watched last month's plant haul, you know that I just got a puppy, and it's hard enough to keep her away from the plants. I don't want to try to keep her away from plants that will poke her. So it's getting a little bit less light than I want to, but hopefully here soon, the puppy will grow out of this phase where it wants to go after everything it can see, and I can put it right in a windowsill. All right. The first of the Alocasia I got is an Alocasia Zebrina. And again, if you watched my current wish list plant video, you'll see that this was an Alocasia that I had on there. And I like it a lot more than I thought I was gonna like it. In that video, I said that I wanted it, but I really couldn't put my finger on why I wanted it. I still can't, but I love it, so I'm keeping it. I'm really excited to have it. I am probably going to repot it here soon after I assure that it's acclimated, because this is not the pot and soil choice that I like for my Alocasias. I need something a lot more barky and a lot more airy. So my dog is, if you see him in the background, just, I would say ignore him, but he's cute. So do what you will. No, leave the plants alone. Come here, babies. With the butt scratches? With the butt scratches? Yeah. Those are his favorite. All right. Mama's got film. You leave those plants alone too. I've got all the plants for this video laid out on the floor next to me, so I don't have to keep getting up. Luckily, he is not big on getting after the plants. He smells them every once in a while if I lay them out like this, but if they're just in the corner or on the plant stand where they usually are, he doesn't even realize they're there. But yes, so this typically needs something a lot more airy, a lot more barky, and as soon as it's acclimated, I will put it in that kind of mixture with a more airy soil. All right, these are some that I was very excited for. If you saw the wishlist plant video again, you know that I wanted an Alocasia Cuprea. And even though this doesn't look like it, this is also an Alocasia Cuprea. And here's what happened. This Cuprea is from Greenspaces.id, an Indonesia plant seller that if you look them up, there's unboxing videos from them all over YouTube. And it's been hit or miss on most people's YouTube on if they show up good or not. Some of them show up fine, some of them show up okay, but they have bugs. Some of them show up dead or die within 2 days of getting it. So what happened is I ordered this one a long time ago and they took forever to send it to me. So what I did was I ordered this one that used to have 2 very giant leaves off a seller from California. And in my mind, I was like, oh, like most plants, if I buy it from the States, from a stateside seller, hopefully it doesn't get damaged in shipping as much because it's not traveling as far. And it hopefully doesn't have bugs, you know, because it's not coming from a big nursery that's outdoors like a lot of plant sellers have in Indonesia and Thailand. When this one showed up, both of the leaves were paper thin, wilting, dying. Luckily, it had a growth point that looks like it's being salvaged. And I'm doing what I can to salvage it, but I was very disappointed in that. But amazingly, the Cuprea showed up and it's fine. These are the same 2 leaves it had when it showed up. I haven't had to cut any off. You could tell the older one is probably gonna die, but that's most likely just from shipping. A lot of alocasias will do that. But it's actually, I've had this probably about 2 weeks now. Maybe a little bit over 1 week. And it's doing great. I would not expect this from buying it from Indonesia, especially seeing other people's reviews that it would have showed up this good, but it did. No bugs and it's thriving. All right. Another alocasia I got is the Alocasia Silver Dragon. And I mentioned in one of my other videos that I had a silver dragon, and that is true. I did have one. I obtained it pretty easily when I had it. Unfortunately, I decided the silver dragon was going to be the first alocasia I ever got with no experience, and it died almost immediately after I got it. So I'd been on the hunt to replace it for a while now that I have more knowledge and experience with alocasia. And here's what happened. This one over here, it was in the same order from Greenspaces as the Cuprea. And I assumed, because it was coming from another country, that it probably wasn't going to show up in great condition. So I went on the hunt on my Facebook groups that I'm a part of and asked if anybody else had one. And 2 people offered me theirs, and I'm a sucker. They were both pretty well priced, so I told them both yes. And all of them are doing well so far. Both of these from the Facebook group have already put out new leaves. They're still in the process of unfurling and hardening off, but they are healthy. This one did have 1 leaf that I had to cut off when it showed up, but other than that, it is in good condition as well. Again, the Greenspaces, no bugs. I don't know. I've seen some other people and they claim to have gotten scale and other stuff. And I think it's just kind of the luck of the draw. There weren't any on mine. All right, so when I mentioned the Calathea Warscewiczii, I forgot I had another Calathea, and it is the Calathea Begonia. And this is one of the ones that was from the Loxa plant seller unboxing that you guys might have seen a couple of videos ago. And this one did not fare very well. I think it had 4 or 5 leaves, and all but 2 got mushy and died. They looked healthy, but Calathea just don't ship very well, especially from that far for that long. So these 2 are doing well. They were very floppy, and I can feel the stems starting to harden and they're lifting up, which means they are on the track to recovery, but this is going to be a long process before this is a full healthy plant again. Now, moving on to Anthurium. I have the Anthurium Forgetii, and I love this one. It's got so many leaves. It's got, I think, 5 leaves, yes. And it's got 1 on the way. And this has just been like, this one's just been an easy one for me. It didn't transition all that much. It showed up and has just done its thing since it got here. And I really like it. I really love the almost completely rounded top. As they mature, I think this part becomes completely circular on the top, but I'm really excited to see that happen. All right, this one is an Anthurium Magnificum, and I love this. It's like, this one is another one that did not really have to transition. It had 2 leaves when I got it, and it still has 2 leaves. And it looks like it's gonna be pushing one, maybe not super soon, but you can definitely see it in there. And I'm very, very excited for this one. I'm getting really into Anthurium. And if you guys wanna see a care video on Anthurium, I am not an expert. I got a lot of my information from fellow YouTubers, but I know enough that these are all thriving and doing well in my home. So if you want a video, let me know. Comment down below. All right, so this little guy is supposedly a hybrid between the 2 Anthurium you just saw. It is a hybrid between Anthurium Forgetii and Anthurium Magnificum. And I like this one a lot. It is definitely a immature young plant, so it's got a lot of room to grow. But I like it because it kind of reminds me of a Queen Anthurium, the way it's gonna be longer rather than round. But I'm really excited to see this one and how it grows. I think when you get hybrids, it's especially cool because there's no telling what their mature state is going to fully look like, because every hybrid is different. And I'm really excited to see this one get bigger. Speaking of Queen Anthuriums, I obtained one of those this month as well. This one is one that I got from Cody here on YouTube. His channel used to be called The Crazy Plant Man. Now it's just the Plant Channel. And he is the one that sent this to me. He did not send it to me because he knows me. He didn't send it to me for free. I purchased it from him. I mean, I want to be on that level, but I'm not. But I really like it. You could tell that these were more of the import leaves because they have a little bit of damage, but it does have a new growth popping out, and it's already popped out, but now it just needs to go. So that is very exciting. The next one is an Anthurium Regale or Regale, or however you want to pronounce it. This one, these are the 2 leaves that it came with, but you can see that it's having some acclimation issues. It's browning and yellowing on the edges, which means I'm probably going to lose it. Typically, when you get Anthuriums, if the leaves don't just die on you right away, what I have noticed is the older leaves that it came to you through shipment will start to brown and yellow, and you will eventually lose them. However, do not fret if you get to a plant with no leaves, because any leaves it pushes after that, as long as you're giving it, close to ideal conditions, those new leaves will be acclimatized to your house and will not have this browning and yellowing issue. But this one does. However, it's got a little pregnant belly. It's gonna be popping out a new leaf here soon. So I'm very excited for that. The next Anthurium I got is the one from the Alocasia plant seller unboxing, and it is an Anthurium Crystallinum. And it had 4 or 5 leaves when I got it, and most of them kicked the bucket. Either they yellowed and died off, or the stem was bent, so the leaf was going to die anyways, and I just had to cut it. It technically has this, it looks like it was one that was unfurling while it was shipping, and it's just going to die here in a second. I should probably just cut that off too. But this one is very healthy. It is already acclimated to the house. It is already reaching for the light. It is doing its thing. And I'm super excited to see this one get fuller. Hopefully it pushes some new growth here soon. All right, guys, this is the last Anthurium. It is another one from the Alocasia plant seller unboxing. And if you watched it, this was the dreaded plant with the spider. And still gives me nightmares, but we'll move on. We'll be fine. This one had multiple leaves. I can't remember how many it had off the top of my head. I think it had 2 or 3. I think 2. I think it had 2. and I cut the other one off because it was dead. This one already seems like it's, you know, living its life. It's acclimated, it's fine. And it has a growth point that looks like it might be popping here soon. So that's exciting. And all is well. No more return spiders from what I can tell. So looks like I killed the one and only that was in the box. All right, guys. We are finally in the last section and the biggest section per usual, which is philodendron. And the first one is the Philodendron Sodiroi that you might have seen in my Alocasia plant seller unboxing. And like I said in that video, to stay tuned until my end of month, you know, plant haul, and I will give a review on how these transitioned. And I already gave you a review of some of them. You know, some of them had leaves fall off and whatnot. This one, the Sodiroi, is in massive quarantine because it had scale. And I treated that, and you'll see actually a couple of them that the philodendron that I got from them also had scale. It seemed like it was only the philodendron though. But yeah, this had scale. I treated it. Everything was cool until the sheath came off to reveal the new growth, and I saw one mealybug. And I said, oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not going anywhere near my other plants until it is drenched for months to clean it. So as much as this one is great, it acclimated very nice to my home, didn't lose any leaves. I have a new growth coming. Nope. No ma'am, this is not, nope, it's not getting to join all the pretty shelving just yet. All right, so the next one is another one I got from Greenspaces, and I'll say it again, like other people had such bad experiences, but this is the Philodendron Mamei or Mamei, however you want to pronounce it. And it showed up great. No bugs. These 3 leaves are the same 3 leaves it had when it got here. None of them are yellowing or dying off. And it's already got a new growth point coming. Not even growth point. It's going to unfurl here probably in a day or two. And it's grade A. And this is the last one from this list that I got from Greenspaces. So I'm just going to say a quick review. 10 out of 10, would recommend. I'm probably going to purchase from them again. Moving on. All right, so the next one is I have 2 different sizes of a Philodendron Glorious, which is a Gloriosum hybridized with a Melonochrysum. And this is the one that came from Greenspaces, and this one also had scale. But it's got 2 new growth points, and I haven't lost any of the lower leaves, so I think we're doing good so far. And I can't wait to see how this one grows. I did get rid of the scale, and I search it every day to make sure I don't see any more. And this one is a little baby of the same plant. It had 3 leaves when it got here, but because it's so juvenile, it didn't really do well in shipping, so 2 of the leaves did fall off. But this leaf looks like it's here to stay, and it's got a new little growth point. Now, in the video where I unboxed these plants, I had a little bit of a discussion with somebody in the comments about why I would spend this much on plants and can't I find them in the US, which are valid questions. This is a prime example as to why some people choose to purchase from other countries. I paid almost the same amount for these 2 plants. US seller, Alocasia plant seller in Indonesia. So there's pros and cons to everything. This is obviously way more bang for your buck. Got way more leaves, way more nodes if you want to propagate everything. It's bigger. But you run the risk of leaves dying in shipping or it showing up with bugs. You run that risk with any plant, especially ones that you get from other countries. So obviously this one, really juvenile, so it still lost plants, but there were no bugs. So it's kind of, you have to weigh the pros and cons for yourself. But just money-wise alone, this is an example of why some people will purchase things from Indonesia, because this is a well more established plant with larger leaves and more nodes. So it's just more bang for your buck. Now, next is another one from Alocasia plant seller, which is the Philodendron Melanochrysum. And this one did not have bugs, thank God. but it had 6 leaves when it showed up, and the bottom 2 yellowed and fell off, and the third one was starting to yellow a little bit. So I went on a rescue mission, and the bottom 3 nodes that, you know, had the yellowing leaves, I cut off, and the nodes themselves are just sitting in water getting roots. And the 3 leaves on top that still had not started to yellow are sitting in water propagating. So this is obviously not ideal. And this is most likely just purely due to shipping. And it's not really the seller's fault. It's just what happens when, you know, more rare plants are in the mail for that long. Since it is not one plant now, luckily for some of you, possibly once they are rooted up and healthy and pushing new growth, I will probably pot up most of them for either giveaways or to sell them, and I will keep one for myself. But it's going to be a little while until they're at that point because they haven't started pushing roots yet. All right, so this little baby was another one that was on my wish list video, and it is a Philodendron Gigas or Gigas, however you want to say it. And this one had 2 leaves and 3 nodes when I got it. And I really, really wanted to propagate it. So this was the bottom one that had all of the roots. So it is already potted up into soil. And the other one is in water right now propagating. I haven't decided if I'm just going to pot it in here and have a fuller plant, or if I'm going to do something with it and give it to one of you guys. I haven't decided yet, but I was really excited to have this one. All right, this one is another one from the Alocasia plant seller video, and it was the Philodendron Atabopoense. And this one did not have bugs, but unfortunately the new growth is dying and all but 1 leaf fell off. So this is clearly just not acclimating very well to its environment, but I still have hope that I can salvage it. This one doesn't look like much, I know, but it was also on that wish list plant video, and it is the Philodendron White Wizard. And it is just a rooted cutting, so it'll be a while before it's going to start pushing new growth. But it was on my wish list, and I couldn't pass it up. I had to have it. I'm really excited. Obviously, I'll be more excited when it starts pushing growth and looking awesome. But for now, it's just a cute little singular leaf, and it's healthy, and we'll see what happens. All right, this is the last one from the Alocasia plant seller unboxing. And it is the Philodendron golden something. And this one also had scale. However, it is probably the one that acclimated the best. It didn't lose any leaves, and it's got a new growth point under the sheath. So I'm excited. I didn't pick this plant. It was the free one that she sent me. So I don't really know too much about it. And I'm still trying to figure out what it just is, because all of the leaves look different. But I'm excited to see what its growth pattern is and how it looks in the future. This little guy is a Philodendron Verrucosum, and I figured I already have the Philodendron Verrucosum Melonochrysum hybrid, and I got the Melonochrysum from the Alocasia plant seller, so obviously I have to have the Verrucosum to create the trio, right? So I found this one. I really like its veination. It's very pronounced. It's just a rooted cutting, but it's got a lot of potential. The last one is a Philodendron Red Emerald, and I got this one off an Etsy seller, and this one, I just cannot wait. Like, look at its body is just begging to be put on a moss pole, and I can't wait. I'm gonna repot it here once it acclimates and just let it live its best life. I love the red stems with the really narrow green leaves. Supposedly this one can do really well in the dark corner, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put it on a moss pole, put it in a dark corner, and let it be this tree in the corner, and I can't wait for it. I'm living for it. All right, guys, that's it for me. If you're not already, please subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Plant My Happy Space. I'll really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed watching me go down the rabbit hole of making myself broke. But unfortunately, it is not over. Stay tuned for May. That's the next month, May. Stay tuned for May, and you will see that I have no self-control. Yeah. If you've got any suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comments. If you've got any comments or questions, please leave it down there. I'm usually very active about responding to those, so let's start a conversation. Comment down below. All right, guys, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you like this one. Peace out. The next one is a Monstera, and I got the Monstera. The next one is my Monstera, and I got a Monstera. Oh my God, I can't say Monstera.